that's the thing with technology. We can, find ways to communicate in so many ways with other people, and then we still, with our technology, have our white earbuds and our sunglasses on, so we can avoid everyone at all costs.
Yes, true.
So it's all how we choose to. I'm going to read one from 2 magazines and then go to the collection book, starting with haiku. I am imprisoned on Earth's dirty side due to their ignorance.
Well,
Written in India.
okay.
It's not about here, don't
No,
worry.
no.
No. It was an India haiku poem.
Vivian, your offer ready, Vivian.
And it is from the current issue of cc&d magazine, which is an ISBN book called Black and White. And I thought I'd share that with you before I read 1 or 2 poems from the current issue of Down in the Dirt magazine, which is The Last Guru. The next one, the 4th issue of both of these will be out September 1st. Look at Scars Publications at scars.tv for those details. This first one, let's start in the beginning of the book with a poem, is called Death is a Dog. Is it all right? And I should ask if I were referring to someone as a bitch. Death is a bitch. Is it okay if I say that?
Should be okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I'll be quiet. Well, I just don't want to cause problems. Don't want to cause problems. Because it's called Death is a Dog. Death is an untrained little bitch. It pees on the carpet and it barks through the night, and it's always begging for scraps on the table, trying to see what it can take from you when you got your back turned, when you're not looking. When you want it to heal, well, it never does, and it never rolls over, and it never plays dead. I know what it takes to die. It's not an emotional, rash decision. It's cold, it's calculated, it's a numbing void. But one day it suddenly all makes sense, and from that moment on, you either look for it, or it looks for you. Death is an untrained little bitch, and I've been begging for it, I tell you, but it doesn't come when you call. I leave a bowl of dried water out and a bowl of dried dog food. And I never see it eating, but when I always check, the bowl is empty.
Ooh.
And I still refill the bowl. And vacuum the dog hair that sticks to the couch and spray air freshener in the living room, because no matter how hard you try, you can never get rid of the smell. Death is an untrained little bitch, I tell you. And what it boils down to is this. You won't get along with her, and she won't get along with you. She'll claim her territory under the bed, eating your slipper and waiting for you to fall asleep as you try to sleep and remind yourself that there are no monsters waiting for you to shut your eyes. That was just a poem that I wrote because Tom happens to know me. I think I wrote that 3 days before the car accident.
Which
Just on a
changed
total,
her life.
on a total,
She was hit by
very
a
violent.
driver, and she was going to die. And she came to poetry and grew through poetry in Chicago and came down, and it's a blessing to us.
But just the odd thing is, like saying that I'm looking for it. I wrote that, and it was 3 days before it. It was just a weird coincidence. Weird coincidence. So that was all that was. But now something a little funnier and weirder. This one is called the one at Mardi Gras. I was at Mardi Gras last weekend, and I got a bunch of beads from parades. No, I didn't lift my shirt for them. And a friend of mine had a balcony on Bourbon Street, and we were on it on Friday night, and there were swarms of people stretched for over a mile. It was a mob. No one could walk, and the crowd just kind of carried them along. And all the men expected women to get naked for them for beads, and from my balcony, I would every few minutes see a series of flash pops, coupled with a roar from the crowd, and I knew some woman lifted her shirt for the masses. I refused, however, to strip for drunk strangers when I knew they all expected me to, being on a balcony and all. So men would look up at me and stretch out their arms, looking up inquisitively, as if to ask me either if they were going to give them beads or if I'm going to strip. And since I had plenty of my own beads and I didn't need to do any of the stripping, I decided that I would...
Caroline, you're on 30, Caroline.
I decided that I would see if these men would accept the same conditions that they asked of these women. So when they looked up at me for something, I would say, "Drop your pants." And they would look up at me, confused, because the women were supposed to be the ones doing the stripping. But as a rule, I got only one of two responses from the men. They would either just look at me like I was crazy and then walk away, or else they would just shrug their shoulders as if to say, okay, and then they'd start unzipping their pants. And then they'd take a gesture and see it turn around as if to ask, "Do you want to see my front butt?" And I'd be like, "No, the front." And then they would turn around and with their pants or their underwear at their knees, and then they start moving their hips, which I never asked for, by the way. So over the course of the evening, I managed to get at least 20 men to strip like this for me, and I was amazed that there was a society, this microcosm of society that allowed this kind of debauchery in the streets, a sort of prostitution for plastic beads form of capitalism. So I was reveling in this bizarre annual ritual when I always stop at the announcement. When this one man, average to everyone else, wearing a gray shirt and minding his own business, decided to look up at me. So I asked him to drop his pants. And instead of disgustedly leaving, they were willingly obliging, he crossed both arms in front of his chest and looked up at me, as if to say, "You want me to do what? You naughty, naughty girl." And he smiled and looked up at me, and it occurred to me that I had finally found someone in this massive crowd who thinks the way I do. Now, New Orleans has a population, from what I hear, of about 1 million. But during Mardi Gras, there are like 9 or 10 million people there. And all I could think was that in all of these people here, I finally found someone who wouldn't blindly do what I asked, but at the same time wouldn't think that I was crazy for asking. Of course, as I looked at him, I also thought he happened to be stunning. By far the best looking man I had seen the entire night. He looked like he had style, he had self-confidence. But then again, I'm nearsighted and I was on a balcony drunk at Mardi Gras. We hit an impasse when he wouldn't strip and neither would I, so our attention was eventually diverted to other balconies. But I noticed for the next half hour, he never left from under my balcony. And every once in a while, he would turn around and look up at me. Oh boy, I thought, I was thinking this entire time, I knew this is no way to start a relationship. I mean, I don't even know if this guy lives anywhere near me, and I haven't even had a real actual conversation with him, but he seems near perfect. And all this time, we were screaming and partying at Mardi Gras, and he would still occasionally turn around and make sure that I was still there. But finally, he looked up at me, signaled that he was going to have to move on with his friends, and I held up my index finger to make him wait, and then I threw a bunch of beads down at him. Part of me threw the beads because he was a good sport, not putting up with my taunting and still not giving in. But a part of me threw those beads because I saw in him the strong sense of values, a sense of self-worth, the sheer love of life, the desire to be alive that I possessed all along and was always looking for in someone else.